bringing you the latest news from Liberty Athletics. This is the Patriot Fan Zone podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back in. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score, and it's the high school fan zone. We're switching gears to Liberty. As I said before, this is like District 5 4A night with the girls. Jay January was here talking about their game against Memorial. Jason Cooper and his girls were here talking about that game. And now, the Liberty Lady Patriots are here. Morgan Glaspie is to my far left if you're watching on TV. Introduce your two players here.
I have our sophomore, Cameron Weatherly, and then our other freshman, Presley Romero.
What's your sister's name, Cameron? Because watching you guys, like a long time ago, I thought I wanted twins. I was like, let's have. But then watching you two, I bet you confuse your parents because you guys look a lot alike.
Yeah, her name's Bree.
Are you identical?
Yes, we are.
That would confuse it. Besides the fact that it would just be nice to your parents because you probably wore them out when you were younger.
Yeah.
You're not a twin, but I know we talked about this. I know your family. I know some of your family. You probably tested, and plus you've got a little Italian in your background, right?
Shoot, I don't know.
when your name ends with a vowel, that means you've got some Italian.
Oh, okay.
You have to research it.
There you go. So I'm going to guess that and watching you play, I'm going to guess that your parents had to have some energy when you were younger too.
Yes, my dad, he's done basketball with me ever since I was very little, so yeah.
And who's your shooting coach?
I work with Parker.
I was trying to give you one of your parents to give them some credit.
Oh, yeah, my dad.
She has a gun in her barn in the backyard, so.
There we go.
Yeah.
And what about your cousins?
They just help me, I guess. I don't really do much basketball with them, but.
Did you ever see your cousin play for Lubbock Cooper?
I did.
That's one of the toughest players I've ever seen in any sport. And Kyle Lovern used to say something about her that I still don't feel comfortable repeating. So I've enjoyed watching you play because you're starting to remind me of her a little bit.
Thank you.
You just need to sprout up a little bit. When I did the video with her and was it Alyssa she did that day?
Yeah, I think so.
She kept looking up and it was like, it doesn't matter.
They're not super big, but they're pretty feisty, so.
And do you guys know a coach who probably was like that when she played, maybe? There we go. You guys are number 14 in the state. We were just talking about that. I'm not sure that's completely accurate. Probably should be a little bit different. Have bounced back, and I hate to say bounce back because I think I told you this the other day, Morgan. That may be the best loss I've ever seen.
Yeah, there was
Lancaster.
Nothing you could be mad about. Besides the first couple of minutes, which I think was very similar to the way we played Memorial the first little bit. And that's kind of one of our flaws is when we go into those big games, any game really, we talk about, not starting flat or timid and just playing. And I think we walked out against, and if you line us up against each other, I'd probably pick Lancaster too. But just the first time out was like, this is no different than what you've done before. And so I think their fight and the way they came back and, the way people stepped up was huge. And I think we took a huge step and kind of, surprised some people. But I thought it was fun. I thought it was really fun. And the energy was high. And good little tune-up game before the boys' game right after. That was exciting too.
Yes, it was. So, Cameron, full disclosure here on your part. Coach can tell you, don't be intimidated, come out, when you step out on the court against somebody that looked like Lancaster, that played like Lancaster, that's hard to not get a little bit shell-shocked at the beginning. Am I right? How did you guys come back? I would ask Presley that, but I think I know what she would say, but how did you guys adjust? How did you, and this is, I know we're going back a few weeks, but that's still stuck in my head how good that game was. How did you guys adjust?
To
the speed, the energy,
Yeah, I just feel this year I feel like we definitely play a lot faster than we did last year. And I think we were really timid stepping on the floor, just knowing they are a good team. But after we started making shots, I think we finally started going. Everything.
Which, Presley, that helped you against Estacado. Because they came out, I just told Jason Cooper that the one thing about Estacado is they're going to turn the volume on high and they're going to go. They may not be the cleanest game right from the beginning, but when they came out and they were pushing you guys and being very aggressive, as one of the young players, two freshmen.
I'm 2 freshmen.
Okay. How did you adjust to what Estacado was trying to do?
Well, like, they were just, like, I guess being really aggressive, so, like, we just have to do the same thing back. Not necessarily, like, push them and stuff, but, like, be physical with them and just, like, do what we know how to do.
Who helped you with that? Who kind of smoothed the waters?
Well, like, Abby, like, kind of, like, was just, like, talking to me about it, like, just, like, helping me with, like, know what to do and everything.
I've watched Abby since she was a freshman, and Abby doesn't get real rattled.
No.
And I've asked you this before, how cool is that to have a player that she's going to just be calm?
I don't think a lot of people see what she does, because I was just telling my assistants earlier, even the Estacado film, the second half when we defended way better and more like we were supposed to, we defended the ball better, but what you don't see is Abby was a big presence in the help side the second half. And so I think having leadership like that, where you know what you're always going to get, and, she may not be high point every game. What she does, and usually it does, but sometimes it may not stand out on the stats or lead the stats, but it's you have to have her on the floor. And so I think she's great for, the younger ones when we are in games like that at halftime when we're tied with a team that, we know we can beat, or Lancaster that, we might feel flustered from. When she steps on the floor, she's going to provide a calmness for everybody, and they feel that. And so they react to that.
2 freshmen, 2 sophomores?
1 sophomore.
1 sophomore. You're lone.
She's my lone soldier.
Mm-hmm. We're coming up on a break, but the one player that has caught my attention the last couple of games, and she's one of your older girls, is Bailey. She seems like she's doing a little bit of the calmness stuff that you guys need. It just seems like this has happened all season, that things are kind of starting to click into place a little bit at a time, and that she's maybe the one recently who's kind of emerged a little bit.
Bailey is Bailey, and she is one of the biggest team players we have and that I've had in our program. If she needs to play defense, she's going to play defense. If she needs to be a helper, she's going to be a helper. She needs to guard the best player. That's what she does. She took 2 charges. She takes charges every game, so she just does things that you really can't coach, and just steps up when she needs to. And it may not be the points or the prettiest or the stuff that gets the attention, but she's a team player. She's going to do what helps us win.
And that's how good teams become good teams. We're coming up on the first break in the Patriot Fan Zone. We'll be back after this on 100.7 The Score.
Diving headfirst into Liberty Athletics. You're listening to the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. This is the High School Fan Zone on a Monday night. We're in the Patriot Fan Zone talking to the Liberty girls basketball coach and players. They are, I went to the wrong district. They are 20-4, 4-1 in district.
Yes.
4-1 in district is an important part. Half a game behind Memorial, sort of tied with Estacado, even though they beat them. Estacado's played 1 less game. That 1 game against Memorial was to start district. I know you're not looking ahead. Coaches, I don't want to get you guys in trouble. You've taken care of business pretty impressively since then. The Estacado game, you came back and dominated the second half. I had somebody tell me this the other day, Morgan. They said, I think Memorial got Liberty's attention. And that you guys have played really well since then. Is that fair to say?
I agree. I think it's just the same thing as when we started the Memorial game. I said we can't walk out and be timid and turn the ball over 6 times and not hit a shot. And we watched film together, and a little sarcastically so they could see it, but had a notepad, and we would stop and, there's a turnover. There's a missed shot. And when you start that way against a team like that, it just, you get in a hole and you can't get out of it. So I think they've been a lot more attentive to the start of the games, and not even just so much the first 4 minutes, but we've also talked about when I come in, am I ready to do my job? Whether it's, first subs off the bench or starters who are on the bench and make their second round back in. And I think we're way more attentive to that. And, it just takes, that's why we're better this year, is our depth. And I feel like every game, it's just finding that 5 that, just have that oomph that night, and the speed and the aggression, and we have that a lot now. And it just helps when we have that, 7 or 8 that all show up to do it at the same time. The first time against Memorial, I don't feel like we did that. I feel like we showed up real timid and just kind of let them carry the tempo of the game.
And credit where credit's due, Memorial's really good. Mm-hmm. They're ranked number 19, not by accident.
No, they have good players.
They've got good players, and I think I've said this to you, I don't know why, and maybe it's because Kiana and Zosha played on a friendship varsity team last year. Those two are probably a little bit readier for the varsity level than that first year for your girls, because that was still also new. Maybe some of the volleyball players it wasn't, but it was a new thing for a lot of your girls.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of flip-flopped. They definitely had varsity experience across the board. And so I agree with you on that. I feel like they just had that talent already there. But even then, so, we defend, and that's one of our identities, because that's how we win. And that's why we're so much better again, is because our offense is better this year. We have more threats to score, but our bread and butter is defending. And
the difference between you guys now and your first year is...
Oh, it's great. I know.
It's incredible.
Sometimes I like to go back and watch film just to kind of see, even like the ones when we beat Lubbock Christian that year, the fun stuff, but it's amazing. But the first Memorial game, I feel like we were a little more, and I don't mean intentionally, but a little undisciplined on defense. Maybe nerves or just the adrenaline. And we still have some younger ones learning, I need to contain more than go for steals. Yep. So I feel like the next time we play them, we need to be better about that and a little more disciplined and just containing, their best guards and just kind of keeping the ball in the paint and doing a little better.
All right, Cameron, I'm going to put you on the spot, because watching you this year, you're so much different. There's a reason you guys look so much different from and it's because of players like you that elevate your game. Why? What's different for you from freshman year to sophomore year?
I just feel like I look to score more than last year, and I definitely think my defense has improved, but defense was more my thing last year. But I think I finally realized I can go and score, and I can help the team in that way too.
And so Presley, you're still just a freshman.
Yes.
That's a mean way to say it, but how different are you from game 1 to game 25 or whatever we're on now?
Well, the first few games were I was kind of just getting used to it, and now I've realized I need to go out there, I need to play defense, and I need to shoot when I'm open and just contribute to the team.
You've heard me say this before, you're not shy about shooting.
Nope.
And the first time I saw you was Idalou, and I told Coach afterwards, neither one of those freshmen is very timid, are they? Mm-mm. So we have one more segment in the Patriot Fan Zone, so we'll be back right after this at 100.7 The Score.
Your inside look into Liberty sports. This is the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score and the 100.7 The Score mobile app.
Welcome back in. We have one more segment of the Patriot Fan Zone on 100.7 The Score. Morgan Glaspie, I can finally say this, the third-year coach of Liberty. The first few years, everybody knows how long she's been there. Now you're the third-year coach. That sounds more official, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's just crazy. It just goes back fast.
And somebody asked me this the other day. I want to make sure this is your first head coaching.
Yes.
You were Junior Ashmore's assistant.
Yes.
He was a pretty good coach.
Yeah, he's all right.
It's also her dad. So when we talked 3 years ago, it's been a work in progress for 3 years. When you look, you're 2.5 years through. When you step back and look, how fun has it been to kind of mold that clay for the last couple of years?
I think the fun part, and the best part is just knowing the maturity the veterans have had going through what we've been through. The loaded schedule, last year being 1-9 and being able to stay disciplined, and not just for those years, but for this year too. Every year we took leaps and bounds. Last year we grew, a lot of people didn't give us a chance in that playoff game against Brock, and I think they showed that they're right there even with everybody that we were going to play. And this year we've just kind of grown from that. And this summer the standards were there, the expectation was there, and I think it's just kind of rewarding for them to see the fruits that they've worked for and been patient for.
So Cameron, you were in the 8th grade when Liberty opened.
Yes, I was.
You were in, God, you were in the 6th grade?
7th.
When you guys knew you were going to go to Liberty and you kind of watched what was going on, when you got there, what did you learn about being a Lady Patriot basketball player that kind of smacked you in the face a little, in a good way?
Honestly, probably the defense. It's just like the whole game's a lot faster, and it's nothing like middle school. And it was just, but I mean, everyone, like all the girls on the team, they are all like really open to help, and they know that like they were there once too, and they're just always there to help, I guess.
About you, because so your cousin's Avery Douglas. I kept mentioning your cousin who played on Lubbock Cooper teams, one that went to a state semifinal, and then Cutter played on some good football teams. So you watched Lubbock Cooper a lot growing up.
Did.
What about Liberty kind of got your attention when you got there? You just got there like 4 months ago.
Yeah, well, it's like, I don't like really know, honestly. Like,
What's it been like to be a varsity basketball player? Because are you 14 or 15?
I'm 15.
Oh,
It's
wow.
very different, like, kind of basketball. Like, it's very different. Like, the speed and everything is completely different from middle school basketball. And, yeah.
I think they've always had the skill. It's just the system. When you start going into a system, and, you know, middle school is more so you kind of get to do everything. And in high school, you kind of have a role. And everyone rolls different. Like, she's going to shoot more threes than she's going to shoot. And so I think kind of finding your identity in that system is a big change for, you know, younger ones.
I remember Caitlin that first year talking about getting the young ones in there and them figuring out that high school sports are much different. Mm-hmm. You're a college player, so you go through that again when you get to that level. I was just talking to Jason Cooper about some of his maturity, but your girl's maturity has been, again, a work in progress. We talked a little bit about Abby. You guys aren't as good as you are if the maturity hasn't gotten better.
No, I agree. I think it plays a huge role in just the expectation. You know, we brought in a lot of skill, and they didn't necessarily need to be kind of like these two and Micah. They didn't necessarily need to be shown how to play basketball, but it's just nice to have some leadership and this is how we do things, and this is the intensity we do it at, or, you know, defense. A lot of people, and to some people it is. I'm just wired this way. I mean, how I was raised. Defense isn't an option. And so I think when you have some leadership that shows, like, no, you're going to do your part on defense. Like, we all have to, you know, hold the rope. And so I think the maturity just helps with that expectation. And luckily we have positive maturity where they kind of took them under their wing and accepted them and gave them a place and encouraged that place on our team instead of being spiteful. And so I think we're lucky to have the group that we have and the way they get along with each other.
All right. So do you ever sneak into volleyball practice, and does your sister ever sneak into basketball practice just to confuse the coaches?
She played volleyball. They both play volleyball.
Okay.
They're both on varsity.
Bree's always at practice too. She's manager. She's
my manager.
Probably the loudest one there.
She's a fireball. They both are, but Bree, she's fun. She's the best. But she's something.
You're off Tuesday. We just talked about that. I'm fascinated by identical twins and how confusing you could be to, like, old people, especially like me. Morgan's just a baby herself, so she probably doesn't get confused. Off tomorrow. Who do you play Friday?
Snyder at home.
Okay, we'll leave it. We'll leave that at that, and then next week the schedule starts back over, so we'll have something to talk about pretty soon after that. The Lady Patriots are ranked number 14 for good reason, and there's some big games coming on their schedule. We'll come back Wednesday on the High School Fan Zone. I'm Randy Rosetta. This is 100.7 The Score.